You know, people like you and me that are paying attention already know that Trump is a wannabe dictator and that he's usually most influenced by the people around him, filling his narcissistic head with whatever he wants to hear, which nowadays is basically permission for him to be a king. So the last thing we need is somebody from his inner circle calling on him to defy the Constitution and suspend habeas corpus. But that is exactly what just happened today, and it should leave you genuinely disgusted and scared. So let's get into it right after you hit subscribe so we can keep the resistance going right here and growing right here. All right. So, first of all, what is habeas corpus for those of us that may not know? Now, given that I speak fluent Latin, I can tell you that it literally translates to "you have the body," which is a terrible pickup line. But to find out what that legally means, let's ask a government official who I assume would know the correct answer.
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right
let me stop you, ma'am. Habeas corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
Ooh, sorry, no, that's incorrect. But we do have some lovely parting prizes for Ice Barbie, also known as Cosplay Christy Nome, our Secretary of Homeland Defense, who should know what habeas corpus is, but definitely does not. Maybe she's too blinded by that glare off her gold Rolex to read the Constitution. So, okay, let's rely on the news lady to explain it to us all.
The concept of habeas corpus dates back to the Magna Carta. It is the right of prisoners to challenge their imprisonment, allowing them to ask a judge to issue a writ of habeas corpus, essentially a court order, demanding that whoever is detaining them prove in court that their detention is lawful. If a judge finds that is not the case, the prisoner must be freed. This right is explicitly granted in the first article of the Constitution, saying, quote, "The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it." The Supreme Court has consistently upheld this right and says it extends to both citizens and non-citizens.
Yeah, allow me to simplify that even further. Habeas corpus is a founding principle of our democracy. It assures that everyone on U.S. soil has a right to due process. It's what actually makes America great, again and again. Try not to choke on that irony, megatypes, but don't try too hard. And by the way, this roadblock to just deporting people in the dead of night has become a real pain in the butt for Trump because he doesn't want people to have due process because he knows he's going to lose a lot of those battles and look dumb. So the White House has been casually flirting with the idea of suspending it, but new today, one of the loudest and sweatiest mega voices on the planet is trying to rile up the troops to put pressure on Trump by publicly calling for him to go full dictator.
You've got the courts on him being commander in chief and deporting the 13 million illegal alien invaders. The courts are saying there, and I say, hey, on the first, suspend the writ of habeas corpus, suspend it. Do what Lincoln did. And Lincoln had a harder argument, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you heard the walrus. I mean, Steve Bannon correctly. Just go ahead and suspend habeas corpus. I mean, Lincoln did it. And he claims that Lincoln had a harder case to make. Now, listen, it's true that the Constitution allows it to be suspended during an invasion, as in a war on U.S. soil. And MAGA is both trying to say that we're being invaded by immigrants, but also because Trump has sealed the southern border, that, hey, we're safer than ever. That you can't have it both ways. That twisted logic ignores the fact that we are not at war, and suspending habeas corpus requires congressional approval. Unless I'm missing something here.
The protection has only been suspended legally 4 times in American history, and only with congressional approval, according to the National Constitution Center.
Okay, no, I'm not missing anything. So all of this begs the question that if there is a process in place to suspend habeas corpus, why is MAGA world trying to do it in the court of public opinion and not in an actual court? Because they know that they're going to lose in front of an actual judge, no matter how much people like Steve Bannon sweat about it. I mean, no matter how much he whines about it. Conservatives and people like Don Cheeto, they claim to just love our Constitution.
If you believe in justice, if you believe in freedom, if you believe in peace, then you must cherish the principles of our founding and the text of our Constitution.
Yeah, well, apparently they're out of toilet paper at the White House and have decided to use the Constitution instead. Sorry for the visual. And since we basically have 4 more years until we can collectively flush that orange turd out of our lives, we all need to highlight stories like this that are basically calling for anarchy. So, show up at your local town halls. Let your elected officials on either side of the aisle know how you feel. Share this post after you comment on it below and get vocal. I'm Steve Harness from the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve podcast, which is available anywhere you can get a podcast, including right here on YouTube. We're doing it all for really American media.